So, welcome to Beauty of Colors podcast, Gessie. It's great to have you on the show.
It is so great to be on. It is such an honor. Thank you for having me on.
You're very welcome. So, Gessie, tell the listeners about you and what is your story?
Oh my goodness. My story is still being written. Just this morning alone, I woke up this morning and the first thing that I began to think about was who am I? And who am I when I am stripped of all of my assets? And I think the time that we are in right now, specifically, especially Black and Brown women specifically, Um, a lot of us are being stripped of our assets and we're asking ourselves, who am I? So with this present economic downturn and, so many people being laid off or let go at such a high rate, um, I woke up asking myself, who am I? Like, if I don't have those things, if you take away my title, if you take away my job, if you take away my finances, who am I?
Hmm, that's an interesting question.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a thought-provoking question. It's a simple question, but it really challenged me to really um, lean into who I am today. And I love the title of your podcast, Beauty of Color. And it's like, what color am I emoting in this season? Right? Um, and so I took some time and I was just quiet with myself. And there's so much that's uncertain. I'm not going to sit here and say, I have everything figured out. Um, but I think there is a quiet confidence that I am building a muscle for, where I really believe in myself, um, and I'm just really learning to lean into my femininity, my spirituality, my wisdom. Um, as I navigate this space that is very uncertain, a lot of the things that we thought we knew, um, throw it out the window. But this is an opportunity and a season for us to reimagine, what does it look like for us to take up space in this world that, speaking as a Black woman, that is the only lens in which I can view the world, and as an immigrant Black woman, in many occasions where I never felt like I was being factored. So, what does it mean to take up space um, in this way? Um, and so, it is a question that I'm constantly leaning into, pressing into. But what I do know is that I've never been more present. And I think I was on Instagram a little while ago, and I've always been very like um, undecided about how I feel about receiving flowers. But I watched this man say, flowers, when you receive them, it is the greatest way for you to know that you are present because they are here right now. And you know the moment you get them that they'll die within a couple of days or weeks. And I was like, it flowers remind you to be present. And I was like, what? What?
Good analogy.
And so, to all your listeners, I think I am someone who is really discovering who I am on a daily basis and really pressing into those questions. But I think right now in this season, it's very important for us to be present. We are in a time that even our mother and our mother's mothers have never experienced. So we are all experiencing this for the very first time. And so, what does it look like, even when you don't know um, right from left, what it means to lean in and to touch joy? And what does it look like to lean on your community? We really need to lean on each other in this season. And so, if I were to start with the story that is my life, born to immigrant parents, seeking that American dream. we came here for a better life. Some things were a bit unstable in Haiti, which is where I'm from. And so came very young, and we finally settled in Rhode Island. Spent most of my undergrad education in Rhode Island, friends, family, all of that. And then um, I came out here to attend graduate school. So I attended Howard University. And I remember, I'm skipping the story, but when I was an undergrad, I was on the track to become a doctor. So I was taking a lot of bio classes. And my junior year, I remember having a dream. And in that dream, it was like God was talking to me, and He was just like, you know what? You need to be grateful for the things that you have. And honestly, you need to be giving back. And I was like, God, what are you talking about? Like, I'm doing my part. And it was really then when I really began the trajectory that is my life right now to live and be of service to others. And so I ended up creating a student organization on campus called Students About the Business of Change. And we raised awareness as well as funding for issues that, many would say is forgotten. We raise money to combat the genocide in Darfur, which unfortunately is still ongoing, um, amongst other causes and things. And I remember thinking then, change is great. You can put on all the great events, but true sustainable change happens on the policy level. And so I ended up starting my graduate degree. I have a master's in African Studies and Research, and so with a concentration in public policy and development. And so I started to, do research and really uncover questions that I had. And really, that degree, a lot of people ask me, what are you going to do with that? But it was a degree that was for me. I wanted to look myself in the mirror and know and like the reflection staring back at me. And if I ever were to have children, I want to raise a child that is certain of themselves, that is resilient, that is confident, and I got just that. um, you know, from there, I had an unexpected pregnancy, and I did end up getting that daughter of mine, and she's almost 14 now, and I'm just so proud of her. And I don't regret that degree a day in my life. It is a degree that continues to keep giving to me. Um, a book came out of it. I ended up not want it just kind of happened like you have to defend a master's thesis at Howard. Like not only do you have to do a comprehensive exam, but they're like, no, you have to defend. And I'm like, okay, I'm just doing this out of formality. And a publishing company, I'm now in my career working, and they reached out to me and I was like, I'm not interested. And they ended up emailing me on my job. And I was just like, okay, if I publish this book, will you guys stop bothering me? And they're like, yes. And so it's a really short read. I have it right here. It's a comparative analysis between Haiti and Guinea Conakry in Africa and West Africa, because there are many Guineas. And we look at French colonial administration in both those countries and how they were impacted socially, economically, and politically. And really, the research was to help really offer prescription for change, because a lot of times, sometimes we see that we're in a certain condition and we just don't know like how we got there. So sometimes if we don't know where we've been, it's hard to know where we're going. And that is true for a lot of different areas of life. Um, so yeah, ended up becoming and working in the nonprofit space, working on Black and Brown issues. And here I am right now. I hope I answered your question or did a bit of an intro. Want to really bounce back to you and just, hear your thoughts and,
Wow. That's amazing, Jesse. So you do have a project. It's called Project Color Me Beautiful. What is it about?
Oh my goodness.
Mm.
Yes. So this was when I started blogging. So my website originally started as a blog, and the brand and the business that I have now, I never knew it would have become what it was. And so Project Color Me Beautiful is, an opportunity for people to share their stories. Um, Oftentimes, we think if we're broken, and I use crayons as the analogy, that it can't still color or there isn't beauty in it. And sometimes, life will break us in different ways. But as a Christian and just as a human being, there is beauty in our brokenness, and it does not mean that He can't use us. I was watching something this morning, and it reminded me, or was talking about how fish have to be caught before they're cleaned,
Mhm.
and I was like, wow, it's very similar to how it doesn't matter if we're broken, like God can still use us. It doesn't matter if the crayon is broken. You can still color with it. You can still create something beautiful. And so that's really what that project is about. There's a lot of people who've contributed to it and have shared their story and how they've um, used their pain and have turned it into purpose in some way.
That's beautiful. So,
Thank
Jess, I know you touch a little about your book, but give us a little bit more information on um, where can the listeners get a copy of your book? Do you have any social media sites that they can connect with you? Do you have any resources about the topics that you talked about in your book? Do you have any resources, any articles, or anything like that on your website?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can get a copy on my website. It's also available on Amazon. So you could just type in unmet potential and the book will come up. I am on social at This Life I Live in Truth on Instagram. And I also, a couple years ago, I curated some head and heart question cards for single professionals. So they can visit at 33 period truths, TRUTHS
Mhm.
cards, if they want to get into some questions. You don't have to be in a relationship to buy them or to enjoy them. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So l- how can one live an authentic life? How can somebody do that?
Oh my goodness, that is an amazing question. And I think just the fact that I ended up creating my blog, which is now my business and my brand, This Life I Live in Truth. I remember several years into becoming a mother, I was talking on the phone with my friend, and she was just like, you know what, Jess, you are an amazing mother. But where is that Phoenix fire that I knew you had in you? We went to undergrad together, so for her to say that, I knew she was coming from a place of love. And so I was like, I got off the phone that day and I was just like, yeah, that's very interesting and not intentionally done, but it happens sometimes. And so I remember challenging myself for a month, what would it be? What would it look like for me to live and walk in my authentic truth? Like not caring what other people thought and just really focusing on what does that look like? Uh, I mean, there was a period where it was very hard, but it was very worth it um, to be uncomfortable. I think sometimes we don't want to be uncomfortable, or the moment that we're uncomfortable, it's a bad thing. But that's life in essence. And so I think to be authentic is to really look inward and to cancel the noise, because I think a lot of the things that come in, whether it's media or what have you, it's noise. quiet the noise and really look inward and just ask yourself, who am I? It's a very simple question, but it's very layered because we are layered beings. There's so much to who we are. Like, we are not just a single story. I'm not just a woman who migrated here with my parents, um, or someone's mother. There's so many layers to who I am. And so I encourage people who are looking to find their authentic truth to just really discover yourself, discover what those layers look like, and sit with that person,
Mm.
date that person, and um, rediscover yourself. Sometimes it will take that, and give yourself permission to change your mind if that's where you arrive. You know,
Yeah.
every new day that comes is an opportunity for us to do better or be better or
Mm.
to exist in our more.
Wow. So being your authentic self is kind of like being your true self, just being unapologetically and just being you without.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do want to say, like, hopefully the you that is your authentic self is striving for betterment of self and whatever it is you believe in, centering that.
Mhm.
So yeah, I agree.
So Jesse, do you have any last words for the listeners about living life to the fullest?
Mm. Last words about living life to the fullest. I think that I would say this, especially given where we are right now, with the state of so many things. I encourage everyone who's watching to know that even when you are inconvenienced by the enemy, and fill in the blank with what enemy could be, that you will not abandon your assignment. And I think some people are still in search of what that assignment is. So, assignment could be yourself. Do not abandon yourself. You are the most important project you will ever work on. So, pour into yourself and extend grace to yourself, and just know that whatever you're going through, you are not in it alone. Seek community and know that this too shall pass.
Wow, Jesse, nicely said. Very beautiful words of wisdom.
Yeah,
So Jesse, thank you for being on Beauty of Colors podcast.
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.